nose, and then sigh it out the mouth. We take 2 sniffs in the nose and 1 sigh out the mouth. Take a deep breath in and relax. Okay. Jerry, what do you feel about, or how do you, when somebody say the art of healing, what does that mean to you?
It's a personal question because I've been around so many different people with different modalities that their art of healing might be completely different than yours or mine or anyone else's. I mean, people learn different techniques. Like some people learn theta healing, Ricky. They learn prana healing, the breath, and everything else. I mean, the art of healing is basically, to me, your own spiritual technique, if you want to call it that, of how you believe you heal the best or what you have learned about healing. Natural healing is different in a way, though, because you're born with a specific gift that you have basically all your life. So the art of healing can be learning a modality, but the spiritual healing of being born with a gift of true healing, um, that's the difference of how I look at it.
And so you
Do
saying
you know
some
what I
people
mean by
have,
that?
so you said some people have the gift and some people don't have the gift?
From my experience, yeah. I used to teach classes, and some people could walk in as a natural, and you could just pull their natural talents out of them. And then some people had to learn how to develop a state of art of healing. It's not that they couldn't do it because, like, symbols with Ricky and stuff like that, I don't know them, but I've been taught how to use and draw different symbols to heal. But that's not my own natural ability. That's a technique I learned. The same thing with theta. A natural ability is having faith in yourself of knowing what you can actually do without it actually being taught, to me anyway. So it's just something that you're born with. You have a caring or a longing, and a lot of people are that way. So it's very easy for most people to bring out a healing modality. But
Do you,
go ahead.
do you think most people have a natural gift, a healing gift,
Honestly,
or nearly? Do you believe everyone have a healing gift?
I think most people have a healing gift, but most people don't practice it or realize what it is. And then that's why they go to different people to learn different techniques or their talent. I used to have a group called the Natural Pathfinders, and what we would do, there would be three of us, and we would sit with you, talk with you, and we'd bring out your own natural talents if you had them. Instead of having to learn a modality, you would already bring out the natural one you were born with. And some
Can I
people do.
interrupt you 1 second, please, Jerry? You talked about some people having to receive training. So those who have to receive training to coax out that natural gift. Is it always so? How can I say? Is always so easy to see that? I don't know. For example, let's say for example, Richard has one of those natural gifts of healing or self healing. Is it easy for you as a an instructor or I don't know a person who's worked with so many people who's been able to self help? Is it easy to be able to notice this in people, or is it you said it's very subjective? Some people may I'm assuming I'm stipulating here. You said that some people may find breath work or meditation, or I don't know, sport, or maybe some people may even find repression and forgetfulness in order to self-help as a coping mechanism. But is it easy for you to, or is it easy for us to understand if a person is naturally talented in this sector in
Yes, it is.
your experiences?
Yeah, in fact, a person who I worked for many years,
Mhm.
they were going downstairs, always going up, and I said, "Hey, you have an interesting brain. Come and see me." And they just
Okay,
looked at me like I was crazy because they didn't know me from anywhere. I mean, we didn't even
okay,
know each other.
okay,
But they did come and see me, and by the time they left, they were doing psychic surgery.
okay. Wow. Okay,
But I
okay,
knew that they could do that.
okay.
Okay. And I've
And
done that for other people. I'll just grab people and say, I need you to do this reading for this person
okay. All right. Well,
because I know
this is
they can
another
do
thing
it.
for me because I'm always I think that's I think the one of the guiding lights for people who's searching for self help is always constantly becoming better. Even never reaching that sense of complacency to say okay I've arrived, I'm there, I'm good. But and I'm not gonna lie, and I would say that I've considered and I've done different type of therapies, whether they're um, classified as legal or illegal, through different things such as MDMA or LSD and things like that. Do these things also help in the sense in your experience of redriving or refinding these neural pathways that we may have lost? Because as Richard said, it's possible, and as you said in the beginning, most of us have this innate, this thing that's inside of us from birth or from childhood that we kind of lose, with living in this society of freneticism, and like you said, through different modalities, we need to, and I use as many modalities as possible personally. And I wanted to know, are the modalities that you're talking about, whether they're single modalities or multi-pronged modalities, do they only include meditation, thinking, and breathing, or are also peripheral objects, to not throw out the drug word, are those also part of some of the processes in your experience, obviously?
Okay. If you're talking about Clara's, okay, like
Mhm.
Clara audio, Clara visual, and Clara hearing, and
Exactly.
all like that,
Yes. 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 Yes.
um, I find that the people I've worked with, they all have a, a commonality of having more than one of them.
Okay,
But
really? So
most people,
clairvoyance and clairaudience, for example?
oh yeah, here's the thing
Yeah.
I
Okay.
found out about my students though, okay, over the
Okay.
years that I taught
Okay.
them,
Okay.
they'll either have overconfidence or underconfidence.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And what I mean by that is a person can come in and they can learn a modality and they'll keep coming back, but
Hmm.
they, in their mind, might not think that they're doing what they're already been doing. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So they might be doing readings, healings,
Okay.
they might be doing remote viewing or whatever,
Uh-huh.
but they don't give themselves enough credit to believe that they're actually doing it.
Mm. Mm.
So, and then you have people that will, on the other end, be so confident in what they do, not that they're not good at it, but they're not
Mhm.
efficient at it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And as a teacher, or um, I have to balance between the two and help
Mm.
both of them find the middle ground of being confident, but being real in what they truly can do
Hmm.
instead of exaggerating more than what they can do.
Okay. Okay.
And I hate to say this, but in the industry I work in, um, nowadays it's getting so confusing even for me because most people should just say, I'm a multi-talented everything, and that's it.
Hmm.
And that means you name it, I can do it. And when I
Hmm.
first started, it wasn't really that way.
Okay.
So this industry, metaphysical genre or whatever you want to call it has changed so much. And I understand about timeline shifts, timeline change, people changing, the earth changes, and we are going to a higher dimension. But we
Okay.
need to be realistic as well. And
Okay.
there's where I find that discrepancy of what people can truly do between those who really can and then those who claim that they can
Yeah.
make this industry sometimes woo woo, as they used to call it,
Yeah.
not established as it well could be, where we could be going into working with doctors like Ricky's practitioners are now and stuff like that,
Okay.
because they've proven themselves.
Okay.
Well, I have a question for you, Jerry. How do you feel about this statement that all healing is self-healing?
I used to believe that. I don't anymore. Okay. The reason why I don't believe that anymore is because the person who got sick, if they could truly heal themselves, they would have never got sick. So when you go and you look for someone to help you get well, you are, if you really understand energy and how it works throughout the universe, you are actually helping that person heal by overlaying your own energy template of helping them heal. Okay. So understanding energy, and we talked about this before, about the power of the voice, uh, the power that you generate within and stuff. I disassociate myself with the person I'm working with, but I work directly with their body to help them come back into alignment of it. But most people that are really sick, they lose touch of the body, or their spirit goes out of their body. If they weren't out of their body, maybe they could heal themselves. But once the person mentally leaves or spiritually leaves the body, they do need true help from another human being, in my opinion, to become well again. This is why it means, well, we are one and we do take care of each other. So if I was to work on you, Richard, let's say, yes, a part of you is helping yourself, but my job is what I do as a healer is help guide you as well. It's help say, this is what I'm seeing within you. This is what we need to correct. This is what is going on. And I sit down with you and I explain to you what I am seeing and what I think you need to work on so you can, at that point, self-help yourself. Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense.
Me too. Me too.
But I think ultimately, still at the core, help the ultimate step has to be taken by that person to heal. Only what you can do as a guide or a healer or whatever you want to call yourself, you just kind of help put them in the best position to succeed. Is that what you're saying?
Have you ever done instantaneous healing?
I've never did instantaneous healing.
Neither have I. Neither have I.
Okay. You want to do a
Okay, I
session on
have.
us? You do a session on us.
Okay. And I've done it by accident, where I've worked on people trying to heal their headache, and all of a sudden I heal another part of their body without even trying to do that. It wasn't them healing. They just knew that they had a problem. I was sending energy. But it's because I took the time to work on them that they were able to receive the energy that they need. See, this is the thing. We have to understand that when you condition your body to truly be in alignment with spirit and the energy of the universe, if you understand the mechanics and the electrical system of a human body, you can generate what they need to be able to heal. We are very powerful. We're going into new ages, and this is why I believe that we need to stop to sit down with a group of people and talk about the new paradigm shifts between what was old, what is new, and why is it new, and how do you prove it? Okay. I'm underneath I believe firmly, and I got in a lot of trouble for this. I don't need people's permission to heal them. Okay. I used to walk through crowds of people when COVID was there, and I could see their auras, and I would send them energy. I didn't tell them anything. But here's the thing. What gives another person the right to get me sick without my permission. What? But they have that right. So if they have the right to get me sick, do I not have the right to also heal?
I mean, I think it's a little bit different. I mean, even though it's positive to be healed versus it's negative to be sick, but I think sick is maybe. I don't think nobody intentionally gets people sick. Maybe some sickos do. That kind of funny, but it's not intentionally done. You know, like a lot of times people spread the COVID and they didn't even really know they had COVID or the flu or whatever. So
Well,
I think it's a little.
I think personally that the ideal is that we are, like, like Jerry said, um, and like as you said, Richard, I think we never really intentionally try to get people sick, and I think that in the end, as us all being connected, and I think that's something that's that's not atavistic, but it's something natural inside of us to how can I say, to interact with one another and always try to make each other and those around us feel better. I mean, we've been doing it, and we do it every day today. You may be having a shit day, and the person who probably cut you off, you're like, oh, that just makes it worse. And instead of exacerbating it, he kind of smiles at you, and say, okay, sorry, dude. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute, and that's also, I think, in my opinion, that's also a way of healing. It may be partial, it may be just a small snippet, it may be a small vitamin of that self-help vitamin. But and like I said, I think that Jerry has a point, that we're born to heal each other, not only ourselves but also each other, because also by healing each other, those around us, that also makes us feel good. How great do you feel when you give your child, your nephew, your cousin, your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband or wife, that present that they really wanted? You gave, you didn't receive, but what's reciprocated, what's retransmitted to you, like I said, I don't have the powers of seeing auras or things like that, but I do feel that, I feel that frequency, that resonant frequency that's vibrating, that I feel, that you feel this sort of positivity, So I think that, yeah, why not? Why can't we, heal each other, even without permission? Sometimes we do it, inadvertently, just like sometimes we contaminate, and we make people catch colds or something from us, which we really never wanted to do. So why not make people feel happy too,
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, just so I can clarify, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever sent a prayer to someone that didn't ask permission?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, but I have found out that what I do when I walked in, that is my form of loving my fellow man without asking permission to be loved. Okay?
Unconditional.
Unconditional. This is where, when we say we're going to the fifth dimension, everything, we walk in that unity of caring about each other to a point that we want to spread health and well-being toward each other, and not the lower vibrations of sickness and being unhealthy. That's all I'm saying. This is why, again, I wish we could talk about the different paradigm changes, because to me, this is one from my meditations that I learned from the masters, that just being in their presence was a form of healing. Okay, from their teachings, and this goes from Buddha all the way up to the Dalai Lama or whoever it may be. Okay, present day. When you're around people that are of a high vibration, they change the energy of what you are by the connection of water. Okay, and that's what meditation is. It's a form of going into self to bring out the higher aspects of what you are. To get rid of the negativeness. Well, if you have no more negative within you, what do you bring forth? The best of what you are in spirit. And that spirit, if we are here to serve and help each other, I cannot think of a better way of doing that than to be able to heal, well, not even heal, but just be present, knowing that that's what I am, as a healer. Okay? If what makes it wrong is if people decide to just take from you. That's a different, because I'm here to serve, but I'm not.
Emotional zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
vampires.
serving, but I'm not in servitude to my fellow man.
Hmm.
Okay. There are so many different things that are happening right now within the human consciousness. And I really, I really wish that we could get together.
Let's talk
Uh,
about it now. Let's briefly
okay.
talk about what do you think is the major paradigm shifts that's going on in human consciousness as we speak?
Well, I've been to a few conferences, and the most thing that people talk about is AI. Okay. Artificial intelligence. Um, I can tell you now from being a technician in the computer world and all like that, we don't have to worry about AI. It's not it's not smart enough to develop a soul of consciousness. The only way it gets its data is from everything that we have put into a data bank. So it's not a conscious being, in my opinion, at this point. It's a programmable being. And it's funny that I say that programmable because a lot of people say that we're living in programs ourselves. When you understand what it really means to be a sovereign being, you don't live in a matrix. You don't live in a hologram world. You live in a world of understanding the universe, the energy of what you are within it. That negates the complexity of words at that point. So if you can understand that you are true energy instead of just a program of someone else's, I guess it'd be manipulation or control, then at that point, you lose the disconnect between the human mindset, in my opinion. And this is why people say, the higher levels of consciousness, the Christ consciousness and everything else, you don't deal within the 3D world as a subordinate, but you live as a becoming master, in my opinion, of understanding the complexities of the world. So you're not undermined by it. And at that point, you're free to really learn what it means to be clairvoyant, to be a psychic, to be able to um, be an instantaneous healer if that's what you want to be. Because you're no longer looking at the physical characteristics of our being, but the energy of what we are created in our being.
Okay. Well, you touched upon something earlier today. A lot of this, a lot of people look upon the healing arts as woo-woo science and whatnot. And there are a lot of charlatans out there. I'm in the industry, so I know there's a lot of charlatans. But no disrespect, as long as they're not hurting anyone, that's the most important thing. But what makes Western evidence so like believable and spreadable, and it is because a lot of people aren't that sovereign. They're caught up in the matrix. Is because you can base it on like scientific evidence or scientific proof. Do you feel like there is scientific proof going on in the healing arts, or this type of work cannot be quantified, or it can't
Well,
be
I do.
quantified as easily as like, hey, you take this Prozac pill, and then your conditions are better after X amount of hours.
Okay, I do believe that it can be proven. Okay,
Or
I believe
quantified, and even like beyond proven, showing data evidence. If you do this amount, if you do this, X will happen. If you do this, Y will happen.
yes, but everything depends on the individual of what they can actually do. For example, I've actually worked with people that do brain mapping, and I worked with people that have been schizophrenic or had Alzheimer's and stuff like that. Okay, they can see that I can influence the brain. Okay, through their brain mapping because they say do this or make a wave shorter or longer, and you can actually quantify that. Okay, something's going on between my brain and their brain to be able to show a result. Here again, tapping into another human being is not that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all we are is electrical signals, and our brains understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So our instruments can prove what we can do scientifically, in my opinion.
So you're saying a lot of it's based on the nervous system. A lot of healing.
Yes,
A lot of healing is based on like kind of, I'm gonna say manipulate the nervous system, but maybe redirect energy that are probably where there's imbalances or asymmetries in our nervous system.
yes. From everything that I've learned, everything works off the spinal cord.
So like in yogic science, they call it the chakras.
Yes, the chakra. Okay. The other thing that I found out was, and most people don't, I don't know how many people actually realize this, but the spinal fluid going through our spinal cord
Mm-hmm.
is the main carrier of all information.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And when the vertebrae are not aligned correctly, because
Mm-hmm.
those are like the tuning forks of a
Mm-hmm.
perfect harmony. So if the first one resonates in second, third, but one's out of alignment, like a tuning fork,
Mhm.
it will throw off the metabolism or the body.
The weak link of the chain, right?
Right. But that's the mechanics of it. You have to understand the physical body and how it works, in my opinion, to be really uh, good. You can now you could the other modality that we do is we do the energy work. That's why we can do remote healing from someone halfway across the world and actually heal them to a
Mm-hmm.
point of making them feel good. The one thing I have learned about either in my own profession that I'm working on is permanent healing. Okay. And that's why I like working with people with have cancers, people that have Alzheimer's or dementia and are in comas and stuff. Because at that point, if you heal them, and I have worked with people that have cancer, and I told them they don't have it anymore, and the doctors couldn't find it anymore. That is where our next evolution is, whereby we can become not just instantaneous healers, but permanent. If you have cancer, now you're not going to have it anymore because I knew how to go in with your help to destroy that DNA link that caused cancer within your body in the original beginning to be taken out from your chromosomes and DNA, so it's not even going to be inherited within your
Mm-hmm.
generation.
Mm-hmm.
These are the steps that I think that we should be going to and teaching.
Jerry, I have a quick question for you. Now that you talk about permanent healing and not trying to think of something that's palliative or temporary, I wanted to know, like you said before, I think that a lot of maladies that we have, a lot of pathologies such as different forms of cancer. I hate to say this too, aloud, but a lot of these are formed because of us. We've allowed that stress, we allowed that inflammation to happen in our body to start to generate and accumulate and exacerbate that negative energy or what have you. But when you're working with someone, how do you distinguish the difference between the symptoms and the pathologies? Like you said before, you said you had some people who come to you with migraines or constant headaches, and then you realized that you were able to heal something else, and that might have been the actual cause, the actual origin of this malady, and they found this through working on the actual symptoms. How do
Mhm.
we understand the difference between the pathology and the symptoms? Because sometimes the line is very, very, very thin. So how do you work with that, with those two different types of things? Because, for example,
Okay,
you may have
well,
someone who does develop cancer, let's say leukemia or something like that, and then but if the problem is rooted much deeper than that, then later on they may develop some type of polyps or pancreatic cancer or something like that. So how do you understand how to go to the core, the essence and quintessence of your, I don't want to say subject, but the person who or whom to whom you're helping?
okay, well, there's different types of metaphysical people out there. Some people
Mhm.
call me a medical intuitive,
Okay. Okay.
which means that I have an ability to look into the human anatomy, so I can
Hmm.
see the brains of people, the lungs, the heart, the blood, and all like that. Okay, But just because I can do that doesn't mean I always have to understand it. And I actually have to work with people that I can say, in this person, I saw their blood this color. What does that
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
Okay. Now, pathology, whereby if a person goes to a doctor and goes, the doctor says, hey, you actually have cancer, and this is a fact. And then they come to me. Well, I already know the thing. How do I go about healing it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do hands on, I do energy work.
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever heard of purging the body, your own
I
body
have actually.
from?
Yes.
Okay, that's what
Yes.
I
Yes. Yes.
do.
It's a very interesting. Yeah. Okay. A very interesting concept. Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I actually work on a person to a point of sometimes actually seeing the electrical chemical charge going
Mm-hmm.
through their
Mm-hmm.
body, and I call it white light.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once I see that, I know that
Mhm.
that's either taken out of their body completely.
Okay.
The color that I see the most that actually will destroy a tumor, like I've seen in people's brains where they've been had a tumor in the brain, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw red light go to it. That's a different type of modality. This is
Mm-hmm.
what I personally need as a developing person to
Mm-hmm.
understand. Okay, when I get white light here,
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say you no longer have cancer because
Yeah.
I can see it being destroyed.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
But when it's a tumor or something, I see a red light go to it, and then they no longer have that diagnostic anymore. I mean, they've been tested, they can't find it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like the person who was healing their headache, they saw a red light,
Mm-hmm.
they saw it go down their back, through their leg to their foot where they hurt themselves that day, and they saw their own healing take place. And I saw the light go. I just
Mm-hmm.
said I was busy working at something else.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things that I still need to learn in that aspect
Mm-hmm.
of how do you take the energy of your consciousness
And
and know
redirect it.
exactly what it's doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
this is
Exactly.
why
Exactly.
yeah, and this is why I love to work with scientists, people that actually
Okay.
can figure all that stuff out.
Okay.
So
Right.
okay,
And
so you
how
want to have
often?
like a merging of Western science and ancient healing techniques. That's what you're calling for.
That's what I think that really needs to be done, especially at um, new techniques of people coming in with new modalities,
Okay.
new abilities, and everything else. We
Mhm.
need to understand what the human body is developing. What are we
Mhm.
developing as spiritual beings,
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
just controlled beings? Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to have the blending of science and metaphysical people working together.
And to
I'm
the point
hoping
where
to
it's
build a
not no
new.
longer considered medical and metaphysical, but it's the same. It's part of the same. Two sides of the same coin. Yes, I agree with
Yeah.
that completely.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Well, Jerry, I have a favor for you. If would you mind doing a healing session on both me and my brother and I? Just a quick one.
Well, let me see if you need anything.
Well,
Okay.
for me, I know I have a broken heart. I always feel that broken heart, and I feel like that's kind of like my weak link in my chakra system is my heart, and sometimes the pain radiate through my head and neck a little bit. And I think I had a lot of heartbreak in life. I do admit that from early age, growing up poor, rejected, failed relationships, all that stuff. It builds, and I noticed that.
Okay. Let me do something really quick. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna move this away.
And I appreciate you, Jerry. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. What I found out was you live in a double mindset.
What's that?
Yeah. Your mind is divided between your physical logic and your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so your spirit rests just above your mind. You're not totally integrated into your physical body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that me in particular or just everybody?
That's
Is
you
that me?
particular.
Me in particular. Okay.
Okay. So you live not in a duality because you're very practical, but your whole spirit has not integrated into your physical body like you would wish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I was seeing in you energetically.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reason why is because your heart, um, when you lived in spirit of the heart, you're right. You got it broken. So I saw like half your heart and it seemed human to me. And
What do
you
you
are
mean?
human.
It doesn't seem human?
No, it is human to me. But you beat with half a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, because spiritually, it's almost like the understanding of this world as what you are as a spiritual being did not match up to the what do you call it? The belief of what you thought it was going to be. Like all your brothers and sisters would live hand in hand, and there'd be peace and harmony upon the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then true reality comes in, and your spirit. It's not that it's shattered. I think it's disillusioned to some degree because you keep a root in this as a physical being here on earth, but your spirit actually has rose above your own mind, and you almost to me from what I saw within you, um, there is a disconnect between your spirit and being truly holy within your own body, like how they say the Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
your holy self felt hesitant when I went into your heart to trust humanity to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because of that, it's not that your heart can't be whole, but you keep an etheric part. So, part of your heart is physical, and the other part almost felt like it was um, metaphysical. What was I just had the word for that. Um,
Ether in the ether,
yeah, it's
etherical.
in the ether.
Yeah, yeah, it's in
Yeah,
the ether. Yeah,
but that's due to your own self protection.
yeah.
So, could
So
I ask you?
I have to become defenseless to really find true liberation. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I need to ask you a question, but I wanted to ask you before I asked it because I didn't tell
Ask
you.
me the question. Yes.
Okay, it's going to be spiritual. Hold on.
Okay.
You're a very interesting person. I asked what it would take for you to be whole, and you said unity. And then I asked, what do you mean by that? Because in your third eye, you have a plethora of knowledge. You're very intelligent, very knowledgeable, do meditation and everything. You feel like you have a very strong will in your um, solar plexus and stuff like that. Okay. So you're very grounded in that aspect of believing your identity. Where I got the misalignment between your heart is your root chakra. Even though you are rooted, you're not stable. It vibrates really a high frequency, and because of that, even though you can be stable and everything, is there's a non-unity of divine connection.
So you're saying there's lack of trust and lack of trust that I'll be taken care of, right? And the universe will always take care of me.
The universe will always take care of you as people that you have a lack of trust in sometimes.
Yeah. And so once I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So once you understand that there's no more need to worry about people because you are strong in your own identity. See, you remind me of a teacher who is developing into a true master state of consciousness. But how do you get verification?
What do you mean by verification?
Who teaches a master when they become a master?
I don't know. I think everybody's our teacher, right? Or
That's true. But if you look at history, there have been people that excelled to a point of teaching the masses. You, in my opinion, okay, would love to be able to teach the masters because from what I could see in your third eye, you have enough knowledge to do it. But if you don't trust within your whole self, and that goes back to the heart, it's hard to teach other people because it creates a negative energy.
yeah, it's like a mismatch almost. Even people like
or, or even
they want to
contaminate.
connect, but it's like, oh, that's like kind of a red flag because it's so much internal conflict, right? Is that what you're
Also,
saying?
doesn't it kind of like how can I say it, contaminate whatever you're trying to project or project onto to your subjects, your students?
Yes, you got it.
Mhm.
So even though you could be a great teacher and everything else, it's not you teaching, it's what are you becoming.
Hmm.
And you can't become your full self until you heal thy heart.
Hmm.
Okay. But your root chakra won't let you do it. And because your root chakra, uh, it almost looked like a brain to me. And it was thinking so quickly that even though you can find yourself in perfect alignment, or at least believe that you are, the fact that you cannot be completely still because you can't stop thinking tells me that there's where I would have to work to be able to heal your heart. Working on your root to stop it from vibrating so quickly, so your nervous system and everything could slow down, and you could become the energy of your meditation. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. What practical things you think I can do to help improve my? So you pretty much pinpoint it's not really the heart so much; it's the root chakra that's causing all the misalignments. Because it's just vibrating so fast and it's throwing everything off. It's throwing everything off.
Yeah, because you've been hurt. Okay, and that happens to all of us. And where does normally it's in the sacrum because that's where the emotions are. Okay, in your case, it came from the root of how do I ground myself? How do I protect myself? How do I establish my identity? How do I find my strength of character? Um, and it's the things that you do. Okay, your mind, like I said, I see more in your third eye than your mind, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like in some ways you live by the perception and clarity of your third eye. And that's why you meditate and do all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to go back and ask you one more question just so we can clear this up. Okay, I'll tell you what I asked you. I asked your third chakra, your root chakra. Um, what would it need in order to be able to um, keep stable in everything? And it said unconditional love by trusting at least one other person in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean unconditionally. You know that they have your back. You know they'll die for you. You know that
Mm-hmm.
uh, whatever you needed, they would be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
So your root chakra is telling me that it's the one that actually stayed hurt. It's the one that actually um, is your defense from being hurt, not your heart. Because your heart is giving. Your heart wants to be able to touch other people and uh, believe in other people.
Mm-hmm.
But your root is your grounding. And if you can't have unconditional love for that's the type of person that you are, your heart, you can't be whole. That's why you have an etheric heart and you have a human heart.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And I'm working on these things. I'm working on these things definitely.
Okay, there is one person in this world that you can trust more than anyone else.
Who's that? My brother?
You.
No,
No,
me.
you, yourself. There's where the mastery comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means to be a sovereign being.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you see why I want to teach the different paradigm shifts?
Mm-hmm.
They say that we need to work on ourselves in order to be able to change the world.
Mm-hmm.
When you're completely unified within your trust, your love, your unconditional love, and you know thyself better than anyone else,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter what the external world does at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they say you can break the soul, but you can't. I mean, you can break the body, but you can't break the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But in this world, there are so many people trying to break the spirit
Mm-hmm.
and give pleasure to the body.
Mm-hmm.
So in your case, you really do, and you're ready for it. In your own way, you are your own master,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to be a complete. There are things that you wanted from what I read about you
Mm-hmm.
that because of your heart and stuff, you limit your own energy to fulfill all your desires, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because here again, even with me, it took trust to be able to bring me onto this program and everything else. And that's only because we talked for about what, half an hour,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So you are capable of trusting and everything else, and you use your instincts to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do that in the aspect of always being self-assured. Okay. The pain of loss is great, but the knowledge of knowing thyself to be true is even greater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because here's the reason why. Because no matter what happens to you in the exterior world of what we do, on the day of our death, the only one that will be present with us when we die
Mm-hmm.
in the physical body is ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are true to that, whatever you have believed through your lifetime, like I'm doing right now, I'm creating a new body for myself to be more of a higher consciousness being, so I don't have any veils or anything, sending myself energy, changing my DNA and all this other stuff. I know that that will be true because those are the things I can take with me because I understand what I am as the energy instead of just a construct of physical flesh. The same thing with you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah. Do you care to help my brother Rigel, or you care for that Rigel, or no?
I don't mind at all. No, I don't mind at all.
Do you have time, Jerry, for my
Jerry's up,
brother?
Jerry's up for it.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I'll just ask you a question, or do you want me to
All right.
find something?
Okay. If
Okay.
you want, yeah, I'm quite serious. I'm quite similar to my brother in most cases. So that
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, fear of
Well,
not,
don't,
saying enough. So
I'll
yeah.
just go ahead and
All right.
okay. Okay. I just asked you a question like, where are you at in your spirituality? Okay. You are different than your brother, believe it or not.
No, I believe it. I believe it. Yes.
Okay. In your spirituality, what you showed me was um, you do believe in the Christ consciousness, just like your brother, but the way that you do it is you explore.
Mhm.
So you examine, you just don't take everything for face value. I'd almost call you the doubting Thomas. Show me the
Mhm.
proof.
Yeah. Definitely. I am. Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to cover every inch of what you've been told. You don't take it by blind faith, but it doesn't mean that you don't accept it. Okay. Because you do. You're spiritual. There's no doubt about that. The reason why you do what you do, and I would change your third eye out if I were you.
Okay.
Your third eye is always on a fast track,
Mm.
but it's emotional.
Okay.
Okay. So you see things, you're like a person on a speedboat on the ocean, and you just go for it. Okay. With
Yeah.
your third eye,
Yeah.
it's there. It wants to explore, it wants to know, but you sometimes get a bumpy ride, or you get from all the influx of everything that you learn.
Mhm.
There's emotional ties to things with you. And what I mean by that is the way that you perceive life,
Mhm.
because you're on a fast track, like a boat going across the ocean
Mhm.
or a speedboat going across the ocean. You don't always slow down to smell the roses.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. I
Mhm.
mean, you see them and you can see the beauty in things, but to sometimes take time to actually out and um, see understand why it's beautiful.
Mhm.
You say, I see it, I know it, and I go forth again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I would change your third eye out. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. Does
Okay.
that
Go
make
ahead.
sense to you so far?
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Even Richard's nodding because he knows. That's how I am. I've always been hyperactive, hyper emotional, and hypersensitive. So that's always been me. Yeah. I see the roses. I appreciate the beauty, but I like to look at all the other roses too. Not that I'm saying I'm a drifter. Just I'm the type of person who's constantly reading up on the Quran, on the Kabbalah, on the Bible. Everything like you said, spiritual. I'm trying to find truths in everything, but I'm not even taking stock of the truths or the information that I'm receiving. So I'm getting like this sensory overload, and sometimes unable to know what to do with what I have. So
Yeah.
right,
It was
that's
funny
why. Go ahead.
because what you showed me spiritually was you're I think it's a gecko. That's the one that changes color.
Okay. The chameleon.
Chameleon.
Chameleon. You're a
Yes.
chameleon examining across.
Mm-hmm.
And just in case you get in trouble, you want to be able to blend in and look like, hey,
Mhm.
I'm part of the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Always have that way out. Yeah. That's
Okay,
escape strategy. Contingency.
yeah. So hold on a moment. I'm going to ask you a question, okay?
Go ahead. Ask away.
You make me want to cry. Uh,
Okay.
I asked you what type of third eye that you needed to be able to
Uh-huh.
find your inner peace and everything.
Mhm.
And it showed me that you've had this curiosity from young childhood,
Mhm.
like Benjamin Franklin,
Mhm.
flying a kite,
Yeah.
discovering electricity, always looking for things, discovering
Yeah.
things.
Uh-huh.
So
Excuse me. Sorry.
when I asked you what type of third eye that you want, it was really confusing. But at the end, you showed me you want a rainbow light of transition.
Mm.
You want pure clarity of truth and
Mhm.
unity within your own mind.
Mhm.
So you want to know once you hear the truth, it is the truth.
Mhm.
And you basically want to be able to elevate your own self into a rainbow type of spirituality
Mhm.
instead of always going forth and looking.
Mhm.
Does that,
Mhm.
you know what I mean
That
by
makes
that?
perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. To being able to take stock of everything that I do have and try to, I don't want to say purge out, you know what I'm saying, but to, like you said before, to full heartedly to believe in what, even if, I'm the type of person who needs to, like you said, dot all the T or dot all the I's and cross all the T's. But from there, there is truth, but even the truth, I sometimes don't find myself accepting, and I do believe that I do sometimes need to step back, like you said before, be a little bit more mindful and take stock of what I do know and what I do have. I'm not saying that I'm unappreciative, because I am, but I do know that sometimes I'm not able to, like you said, stop and smell the roses. Sometimes I'm able to slow down. Okay, look at those roses. There's 4 of them, but then you just keep going. Staying out of sense reach from them. So yeah, it makes completely sense to me, Jerry. It does. It might sound strange coming out from you, saying trying to verbalize it, but to me, it sounds perfectly normal. It sounds like me, saying in a nutshell.
Okay. So the kind of third eye that you showed me that you wanted
Mm-hmm.
was a rainbow body um, spiritual being, but more feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So feminine because you don't want to have to once you find the new knowledge of what you know to be the truth,
Mm-hmm.
um, force it upon other people. You want to be able to be gentle, kind, loving, and giving with um, head. Okay, so
Yes.
you're
Yes.
for a trickle being to almost become truly in alignment to what you truly believe, but don't have
Mm-hmm.
actual proof 100%.
Yeah.
And the boon of or transforming into a rainbow body is where your third eye wants to be, if that makes sense. And that
Yeah.
type of
Okay. Okay.
clarity
Yeah. Yeah.
and that type
Yeah.
of
Some of the
clarity and
terminology is a bit missed for me, but yeah, but I understand where you're going with that. In fact, I've written it down this way. Like, later on, I could read up on it. Get knowledgeable about that.
yeah, well, you showed me like a a very high spiritual priestess or Mary Magdalene or Mary type of woman or whatever, but it needs
Mhm.
in your mind that femininity of
Mhm.
love, so you
Yes.
could be universal with it as also unconditional.
Yes.
Oh, you're telling me the reason why you want the feminine eye.
Mm.
You're nurturing.
Yeah. Yeah. I do find myself that way. Sorry, my allergies. Okay. So yes, so I find myself in that way, or at least thinking that way. Like you said, being in touch with my feminine self, in the sense that I am always looking for, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm always looking for trying to, even if I don't really want to help people, but I prefer to, try to spread that help, that nurturing, to those I come across. Sometimes it's to my detriment because I feel myself giving so much of myself, that empathy, saying giving so much of myself that I sometimes don't have enough for myself later on. But that's also because, like you said before, sometimes I don't trust myself enough, saying to that I have that reserve, those reserves inside of me, that emotional reserve, yeah, definitely. I see myself needing to try to, yeah, take stock of what I have, what I understand,
Okay, question. Do you ever go to Lunch Bunch?
What is lunch? I don't know. That's
He lives in
I
Italy.
live, I live in
Oh,
Italy, so I've lived in Italy for 25 years now. So yes, yeah, I've been out of the American loop
No,
for
no,
quite some
lunch
time.
bunch is a little thing we do in Orange County near Los Angeles, right, Joe?
Okay,
It's like
okay,
a group of healers, and that's how I met Jerry.
okay, okay,
I
okay,
was so intrigued by him and his presence. So we talked,
okay,
and I said, I would love for him to be on the podcast, and he
okay.
so delightfully agreed. So we're blessed.
It might be something I might look into trying to start up here. Thanks for the idea. It's called Orange Box.
No, lunchbox.
Orange Box. Okay.
yeah, Lunchbox. Okay, Rigel. I'll
Yes,
tell you what. Uh, do you have my email address?
I can
I'll
get it.
give it
I
to
can.
him.
Yeah, exactly. I can ascertain it from Richard. Yes.
Okay, if you like, I will do a technique with you to change out your third eye and
Okay.
replace it with exactly what you want.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you. That's much
Okay,
appreciated.
I would do it here, but that's one of my techniques that I teach in class and
Yeah. Yeah.
everything.
Okay.
So it's kind of like my own. It's not my own signature, but it's what
Yeah.
I do with people to help them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we can do that off air if you like.
Okay. Okay. Definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Okay. Well, on that note, we'll thank Jerry so much for being on the show. Thank you, Jerry, for being on the
Thank you,
show.
Jerry. Really appreciate it.
And until
thank